We have already seen it in action watching Avatar or Harry Potter. If you have played with an Xbox or a PlayStation, you have probably used the chips made by this company. Its name is NVIDIA. Artificial intelligence reaches gigantic levels like those of Google or Microsoft. Until many years ago, few people knew about it. NVIDIA began as an electronics company, like many others, but with great potential. LSI Logic Corporation, based in California, is where Jensen Huang works. He is a young engineer, just 30 years old, who in 1992 had just graduated from college. He was immediately hired by LSY Logic, not in any role, but as the head of an entire division. For many it would already be a dream, but Huang's dream is another. He is convinced that the potential of computer science is enormous, and what he wants is to explore it to the fullest. But under a company, he cannot experiment as he would like. To do so, he needs autonomy. So, in 1993, he convinced two other electronic engineers to follow him, Chris Malachowski and Preim, to give life to a new adventure. The three of them took the plunge and moved to Sunnyvale, California with $40,000 in their pockets to start. So in 1993, they founded NVIDIA. Huang took over the company as CEO, a role he still holds today in 2024. However, creating new technologies takes time. And to be autonomous, they had to keep the company going. The first trend they focused on was video games. Part of a long-term strategy. They knew that the sector would grow in the coming years, and time would prove them right. NVIDIA began developing graphics cards for video games with the aim of improving the graphics processing of codes. Despite the initial hard work and difficulties, the founders managed to create their first product, the NV1 graphics card. It was a job that required a lot of effort, but the product did not achieve the results they had hoped for. This was because the NV1 was too advanced for its time. Few software programs were able to fully exploit its potential, but the result of that group of engineers does not go unnoticed. A company without resources manages to create the most advanced graphics card of all the others. Some people begin to take it seriously, so the first investments arrive, $20 million, without which they would not have been able to continue. Sequoia Capital, now a Silicon Valley institution, is a firm believer in them and is one of the first investors to believe in almost every major technology project. 1997 to 1999, the success of Riva. After the initial failure of the NV1, NVIDIA bounced back with the Riva series. The Riva 128, released in 1997, was the company's first real breakthrough. With a significant performance improvement over its predecessors, the RIVA 128 managed to gain significant market share. This chip was one of the first to support accelerated 3D graphics, earning the approval of game OEM and software manufacturers. In 1999, NVIDIA launched the Riva TNT2, an even more powerful successor to the Riva 128, which further strengthened the company's reputation in the GPU sector for gaming and professional applications. With the success of the Riva line, NVIDIA gained a dominant position in the graphics card market for PC, and the company decided to embark on a new phase of growth. The GPU era and market rise, 1999 to 2006, 1999, GeForce and the GPU revolution. In 1999, NVIDIA made a decisive strategic move by launching the GeForce 256, the world's first GPU graphics processing unit. Although the graphics card industry was growing, traditional graphics processing units were still largely driven by the CPU, central processing unit. With the GeForce 256, NVIDIA revolutionized this paradigm, defining the concept of a GPU as a hardware unit dedicated to parallel graphics processing. The GeForce 256 was the first graphics chip that performed complex rendering, lighting, and geometry functions directly on the GPU, freeing the CPU from these intensive operations. And in that year, it went public in New York on the NASDAQ in the list of technology companies. And it did so to raise capital. And it is listed at a price of $12 per share. And it had grown by 64%, reaching $626 million. And the magazines talk about NVIDIA as one of the companies that produces the most advanced products in the world. But the problem was, the price of the products often higher than those present on the market, and they always attract prominent customers such as Microsoft. It will have contracts for over $200 million. In 2001, it also collaborates with Apple for the GPU, and in 2003, it is the turn of NASA to map the soil of Mars. In 2004, it also works with Sony for the creation of the PlayStation 3, and in 2005, it reached $2 billion. In 2006, NVIDIA made another leap with the GeForce 800 GTX, the first GPU to implement the Tesla architecture. The GeForce 8800 GTX supported DirectX 10 and Shader Model 4.0, paving the way for games and graphics applications with stunning visuals. This GPU also marked the beginning of the GPU computing era, as its architecture was designed for general computations beyond graphics, foreshadowing the future of parallel processing, and they will be essential to power artificial intelligence applications. In 2009, NVIDIA launched the Tesla series, a line of GPUs designed for scientific computing and deep learning. With the introduction of Tesla GPUs, NVIDIA established itself as a leader in the field of GPU computing, contributing to the emergence of GPU-accelerated supercomputers. The Tesla series has had a huge impact on academia and industry, pushing complex simulation processing and machine learning to new levels of performance. In 2012, NVIDIA released the Kepler series, which improved the power efficiency of its GPUs, increasing the performance of parallel computing, deep learning, and scientific simulation applications. Kepler GPUs have been used for applications in artificial intelligence, AI, data mining, and biomedical research. Key Kepler innovations: energy efficiency. Kepler introduced radically improved power management, enabling better performance with significantly reduced power consumption. The GeForce GTX 680, the flagship of this architecture, was capable of high-speed parallel computing and graphics rendering while maintaining very high energy efficiency. CUDA cores. The Kepler series saw the enhancement of CUDA cores, improving parallel computing capacity. This had a significant impact on applications that require large amounts of processing power, such as deep learning and scientific simulations, pushing the use of GPUs for general-purpose computations beyond simple graphics rendering. Improved support for scientific computing and HPC. Kepler-based GPUs, such as the Tesla K10 and Tesla K20, were optimized for high-performance computing (HPC) applications. The Tesla K20 in particular found widespread use in supercomputers thanks to its power and ability to perform complex calculations in parallel. GeForce GTX 680, one of the most iconic GPUs in the GeForce 600 series, was the GeForce GTX 680. This car was designed for the consumer market and offered extraordinary performance in games and graphics applications, setting a new standard in PC gaming. It was also VR ready for the future of virtual interaction that would explode in the following years. The importance of CUDA in 2012 and the advancement of parallel computing. By 2012, CUDA was already well established as an essential tool for developers who wanted to leverage the power of NVIDIA GPUs for general computing tasks. CUDA enabled developers to use GPUs to accelerate not only graphics-intensive applications, but also high-intensity parallel computing, such as those in scientific simulation, computational chemistry, and especially deep learning. The Kepler architecture, with its improvements in power management and processing power, greatly contributed to the adoption of GPUs in academia and industry, especially for supercomputers and data mining and big data applications. Around this time, CUDA was also becoming increasingly important for software developers, especially in the scientific and research sectors, as it allowed them to significantly accelerate numerical calculations on large data sets. 4. NVIDIA's influence in the artificial intelligence AI industry. Although GPU adoption in deep learning was still in its infancy in 2012, NVIDIA was already positioning itself to play a major role in the evolution of AI. The Kepler architecture and the growing power of GPUs were facilitating the transition from simple graphics rendering to highly specialized parallel computing tasks, such as those required by deep learning. In 2012, NVIDIA had not yet reached the peak of its GPU adoption for deep learning, but it was starting to develop specific software solutions, such as QDNN, CUDA Deep Neural Network Library, which would become essential for optimizing neural networks on GPUs. NVIDIA GPUs had already been used in some machine learning and speech recognition applications, e.g. in academic research, but it wasn't until a few years later that GPUs for deep learning really took off, when the Volta architecture and Tensor Core innovations brought NVIDIA to the center of the AI field. 5. Supercomputers and big data adapting to new needs. In 2012, NVIDIA was making huge strides in the world of supercomputers. The increasing processing power of its GPUs and the ability to perform calculations in parallel was leading to the adoption of its technologies in emerging fields such as data analytics and big data. NVIDIA GPUs were being used to accelerate data analysis processes, particularly in the financial and simulation sectors. In the context of parallel computing and deep learning, 2012 was the preparation for a future that would see NVIDIA become one of the most influential forces in artificial intelligence, scientific simulation, and supercomputing. 2023 was a pivotal year for NVIDIA, further cementing its leadership role in GPUs, AI, and parallel computing. NVIDIA continued to innovate across multiple fronts, from gaming to professional applications to data centers to AI and machine learning. As the GPU market continues to grow, NVIDIA has adapted and pushed itself to new heights, leading the company to dominate some of the most promising sectors of the technology industry. That's all for today. In the next video, we will talk in detail about NVIDIA technologies. Leave a like and see you soon.